Talk here. Talk there. Talk 1470 AM and 95.3 FM. The Health and Wealth Radio Network. WNN.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Talk 1470 is WWNN Pompano Beach and 95.3 FM W237BD Boca Raton, the Health and Wealth Radio Network.
I'm Ben Utek. I played high school, college, and pro football, helping my team win the 2006 championship. It was an amazing day, but it can't compare to the joy I feel every day with my loving wife and 3 beautiful daughters. My football career ended after I suffered my 5th concussion. Did you know that over 1 million athletes suffer a concussion each year? That includes boys and girls, every age, every type and level of sport. It isn't always clear that a player has had a concussion, so parents, athletes, and coaches need to learn about concussion signs and symptoms. The American Academy of Neurology recommends athletes thought to have a concussion be immediately removed from play and not returned until assessed by a healthcare professional trained in concussion. This isn't just about sports. It's about your brain. When in doubt, sit it out. Learn more at aan.com/concussion. That's aan.com/concussion. A message from the American Academy of Neurology.
1470 AM and 95.3 FM, the Health and Wealth Radio Network. Tune in for Barry's Supplement Hour with Keith Nevins, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. WNN.
Hi, it's Jay Foster. Join us 7 days a week from 2 to 3 p.m. for Health Connection Radio. We'll talk about natural cholesterol control, toxic metal syndrome, how to reverse bone loss, and the latest scientific research on vitamins and minerals. We'll have fascinating guests, and we'll take lots of your calls, too. So join us 7 days a week from 2 to 3 p.m. for Health Connection Radio right here on WNN.
I was visiting my 75-year-old aunt the other day when her phone rang.
Hello? It's you again.
She seemed nervous.
Well, I don't think I need any more life insurance.
The caller was doing a great job keeping my aunt on the line.
Okay, so you need my credit card number?
My aunt went to get her purse, so I decided that I would ask a few questions. Well, as soon as I introduced myself, the caller hung up.
McGruff, the crime dog here. Recognizing the signs of fraud can be difficult for older people. Often they're very trusting and consider it impolite to hang up. The National Crime Prevention Council wants to educate seniors so that these scams can be reported to local law enforcement agencies.
Financial fraud could include identity theft, fake check and wire transfer scams, investment and credit card fraud, and online charitable solicitations. Unfortunately, only 1 in 5 of these crimes are reported. To learn more, go to ncpc.org/seniors. That's ncpc.org/seniors. A message from the National Crime Prevention Council and the U.S. Department of Justice.
Talk health. Talk wealth. Talk politics. Talk 1470 and 95.3 FM. WNN.
The opinions expressed in the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to the Golf and Travel Show, the place to fine-tune your swing, dress for the course, club, or cruise, and get tips on the best places to play and stay at the right price. Vacation or staycation, host Dan Shub, along with his expert co-hosts and guests, will tell you where to go. To play golf and vacation, that is. Now, here's Dan.
Welcome to the Golf and Travel Show. I'm your host, Dan Schub, and tonight, like we always do, we're going to talk a little bit of golf. We're going to talk some travel, and I still have a cold, so I apologize in advance for that. But that's what happens when you travel a lot, I guess. You kind of pick up a few bugs here and there. But we do have a good show in between any coughing, and in just a few minutes, we'll be chatting with our guest. And I thought we'd do a little bit something different. I was thinking about holiday shopping and the different stuff that's available for sale. And last week we did talk about a bunch of gift items for your travelers and for your golfers. But I thought I would kind of take a different approach and go straight to the manufacturing end and talk about the trends and the future of golf for the year. And something that I get to do every year, I've been doing for more than 20 years in January, is head up to the PGA Merchandise Show. And there you get to see what all the manufacturers are introducing, and you get it straight from the manufacturers as opposed to the retailers that most of us frequent when we're looking for, a holiday gift. So to find out a little bit more about the show itself, the manufacturers that go, the whole process of introducing new products and what's going to be hot perhaps for this coming year, 2017, we're going to be talking in just a few minutes with Mark Simon, and Mark is the show event director for the PGA Merchandise Show. So he kind of knows exactly the inside scoop as to what the manufacturers are planning and kind of how they bring it all to market. So be a little bit of a different approach. So I'm looking forward to that. As usual, I will have a couple of my deals for you for travel. Travel itself, I suppose, could be a pretty neat holiday gift for those of you that have a bigger budget, perhaps. But, of course, when I find these deals, I try and give you that big gift on a small budget. So that's the way I like to roll. So I'll fill you all in on it. And, of course, I always talk about my travels. And last week I spoke about my travels to Las Vegas. And believe it or not, I'm going back. So we'll be talking a little bit more about that as well. In this segment, though, we typically like to talk a little bit about what's going on in the world of golf. And there's not a lot going on in the world of golf due to the holidays. The real tour events, for the most part, are all on hiatus. But this week there actually is an event going on this weekend, and it's local over in Naples, and that would be the Franklin Templeton Shootout. And it's a scramble format, and teams are playing. I believe there's about maybe 12 teams. And the first thing I have to say is that currently in the lead as of now, Friday night, Harris English and Matt Kuchar are tied for first, or in first place as a team. But the interesting part about the event is only for the second time in the event's history, a woman is competing in the field. The last time that happened, Annika Sorenstam was playing with Freddie Couples back in 2006. And this time it's really interesting because a local native is the woman who's playing, and that would be Lexi Thompson, and she's playing with Bryson DeChambeau, who is a young and upcoming star on the PGA, and gets to play in some events. We don't see him play in all of them, but when he does, he's quite colorful and can be quite good, depending upon the tournament. But their team currently is in 10th place, so they're not threatening to win. But when Lexi or any other woman plays on a PGA Tour event, and even though this is not a major event, it's still sanctioned, I believe, by the PGA Tour in some form, she has to play from the men's tees, from the back tees, as opposed to a much shorter course that a woman would typically get to play from. So she was up for the challenge. It's not getting a tremendous amount of publicity. I don't think she was doing it for the publicity. Like I say, I think she's just doing it for the challenge to see how she can compete and have some fun and keep herself busy when there aren't any LPGA Tour events that are going on anywhere. So it's just kind of interesting. So we'll see how that shakes out. And if anybody is listening to this Friday and wants to go out there and check it out, you can still head over there this weekend and check it out. It's at the Ritz-Carlton golf course there. It's a beautiful golf course. I have had an opportunity to play it over there. Greg Norman design, and interesting, very interesting. Also, speaking of interesting, in the golf world, rules of the game are very important. Many people take them extremely seriously. I'm not one of them, mainly because I don't play for money. I'm not a professional when it comes to playing golf. I go out there just to have some fun. And, obviously etiquette is extremely important to me and keeping things moving. But, if my ball lands in a divot or if it lands on top of a root that's exposed or something, or, I'll move it or occasionally. It's just not that important to me. But I might even take a mulligan every once in a while. Again, not if somebody's right behind me, not to hold up play. But in any event, the rules are important, especially when it comes, to the professional tour. And back at the U.S. Open, there was a penalty that was assessed on Dustin Johnson. And it seemed to be one of those kinds of rules that are perhaps a bit much. And it had to do with the ball moving. And it was on the putting green, and if you go to address the ball and the ball moves, you get assessed a penalty. As it turned out, it didn't affect the final outcome. He ended up winning anyway. But, in looking at the videotape, it was quite apparent that he had absolutely nothing to do with this. He was, it was not caused by him grounding his club behind the ball or touching the ball or anything like that. I mean, it could be the wind that picks up and moves the ball. It could be just about anything, the rotation of the earth, a trembler, out in California, and the player gets penalized. And the folks that are handling the rules, which would be the USGA and the R&A, they've actually decided to fix that rule and to change it because they felt that it wasn't right either. And it seems that this group that meets about the rules, they do revise the rules every 4 years. The next revision is due in 2020. So we don't know exactly what all the rules are, but it seems that they were thinking about changing this prior to Dustin Johnson's issues. And that only made them realize that was the right thing to do. So kudos to them. The rules of golf, like I said, to some people are sacred, and some of the rules seem to be a little bit antiquated or archaic. But they do get updated and they do get changed, and you need to have them, especially for the professional tour. So I'm glad to hear that they are fixing them. I also wanted to mention, speaking about the holidays and holiday gift giving, that we do have an event that's pretty much just around the corner. It's the first week of February, and that would be on the Champions Tour, the Allianz Championship, which is right here in Boca, about a 3-wood away from where I'm sitting. And that's, right now they're looking for volunteers, so you get some nice perks if you volunteer. And of course, tickets are available for sale, which for that golfer in your life that you just can't figure out what to purchase for the holidays, you might want to consider some tickets, some perhaps upgraded, seats or something like that, where you get some fine drinks and food and viewing opportunities. So to get more information about that, you might want to just go to AllianzChampionship.com, and you can get that information. And I think they need several hundred volunteers to pull that thing off. And, of course, all of these tour events, they raise tremendous amounts of money for local charities that do great work right here in the community. So when you volunteer or if you patronize an event like that, you're really doing a lot to give back to the community. When the show started, I besides mentioning my cold, I mentioned that I am going to be heading out to Las Vegas. And typically when I go to Las Vegas, it is for business and not always the golf business, and I don't always get a chance to play golf out there. This particular trip is just a quick trip to go visit with a previous guest who my friend Scott Price. He's out there with his son Austin, who they'll be competing in the Nationals. U.S. Nationals are being held out there. So I wanted to go check it out, and I figured as long as I'm not working by day, I could sneak in a little bit of golf. So fortunately for me, my friends over at the Las Vegas Paiute Golf Resort, they decided to invite me out there and check out their facility. They've got 3 Pete Dye golf courses, the Snow Mountain, the Sun Mountain, and the Wolf. I'm going to be playing the Wolf on Sunday. The Wolf is the longest golf course in the state of Nevada at over 7,600 yards. Pete Dye is at his best. He's got a beautiful island green on the 15th hole. It's a desert course, so of course being here in Florida, I don't get a chance to do that very often. So beautiful mountains in the background and wind whipping through. dry, unlike here in Florida, and cool. If I'm lucky, the high might get to 60 out there, but with the winds, it'll probably feel a little bit colder. So I'll be bundled up. And next week, we will be talking to Ayesha McKinney. She's their director of marketing. So between me and her, we'll be able to fill everybody in. It's a short drive from the Strip, and their rates are a little bit more attractive than some of the golf courses that are affiliated with the major casinos on the Strip. So I will report back to you all so you can hear about it and figure out if it's where you want to play when you head out to Las Vegas. What we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and then we will be back, and we will be learning a little bit more about the inner workings of the PGA Merchandise Show with our guest event director, Mark Simon. You won't want to miss it, so stay tuned. We'll be right back with more of the Golf and Travel Show. And we are back. Time for a quick message from our sponsor, Labor Finders. If your business needs industrial workers or if you're looking for work, you got to call Labor Finders. Labor Finders places for temporary or temporary to hire opportunities for skilled, semi-skilled, or general labor positions such as plumbers, electricians, concrete workers, forklift operators, hospitality, office clerical, and so much more. Labor Finders has almost 200 offices nationwide. Near here in Boca Raton, they have offices in Homestead, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, and in Jupiter. So if you need legal, insured workers, or if you're looking for work, call Labor Finders toll free at 800-864-7749. That's 800-864-7749, or visit laborfinders.com.
Yes! Have you ever seen a show where fellas on the mic with 1 minute rhymes that don't come out right? They bite. They never write. That's not polite. Am I lying? No, you're quite right. Well, tonight,
and we are back. And people in golf, when they talk about the show, it's the PGA Merchandise Show that they're talking about. For those folks that aren't fortunate enough to be in the industry and get to go, if you love golf, it's like being a kid in a candy store. You see all the latest, the greatest, and what's new and what's exciting in the world of golf. And it's an interesting event. It's if you've never seen it, it's kind of hard to imagine. So to try and paint a little bit of a picture, perhaps, of the history and where it's come to today, and what it's like to be there, and what's going to be hot and new for 2017. The actual guy who's the director of the show, he sure should know. That would be Mark Simon. Mark, are you with us?
Yes, I am here, and thank you very much for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. And as I mentioned earlier, I've been visiting the show for 20 or 21 years now, and it's changed a lot in my time. But I know that it had some very, very humble beginnings. I think right here in Palm Beach County, from what I've heard, like in a parking lot or something is kind of where it started. So perhaps you could fill us in just a little bit about what you know about the history of the show, and then we could kind of bring it up to speed as to where it's at today.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the days the sales reps actually did meet in a parking lot back in Dunedin, I think it was back in 1954. Mm-hmm. The show has come a long, long way since then. But again, it's still about, at its core, bringing buyers and sellers together. It hasn't strayed far from those roots, but it's a very different event, as you know, than it was that many years ago, and it's really evolved over the last, I would say, 5 to 7 years to really get to the next level.
Now, speaking of the next level, I know prior to the recession, things kind of peaked, and then, of course, the world of golf kind of slowed down in general as far as people playing it, rounds played, and what people bought, perhaps. But back then, we used to hear from folks like you that it was about 7 miles, actually, of aisles if you were to go up and down every aisle of the show. Is that still somewhat accurate?
I mean, it's probably more than that. I took a pedometer a couple of years to the show, and I had 40,000 to 50,000 steps by the end of each day. So It's literally 1 mile from one end of the show to the other, and then when you actually walk all the aisles up and down, I've actually heard 10 to 15 actually to walk the whole show.
Yeah, it's definitely a bear. Certainly takes a couple of days. Now, as I had said, it is for the trade only, and this is an opportunity for the manufacturers to introduce new products and get them on the shelves at your pro shops, at your club, or retailers, or online places that you shop, I suppose. So, I mean, from your position, as I said, and as you said, it had humble beginnings a long, long time ago. The industry kind of exploded for a while, kind of pulled back a little bit. Why don't you explain a little bit about your job and what it's like to try and either keep the manufacturers showing up year after year and exhibiting, and the new kinds of people that kind of come and go, and what's it like to keep all this together?
Well, again, I think from our perspective, again, it's the PGA Merchandise Show. If we can get the vast majority of PGA professionals and buyers to come to the show, the manufacturers will come because, again, over time, events like this, it's proven that it's much easier to see a lot of people over a couple days than to go out on the road and see them, where they're coming from. So our focus has really been on really transforming the event each year to make sure that it's attractive to PGA professionals and it helps them further their business and their career. And I think the change we talked about over the last 5 to 7 years, a lot of it is it's become more than just what people would think of as a trade show. Our tagline is the major of golf business. And we really want people to look at the show like they look at a major championship in the tournament world, that it's elevated, it's at the next level. And how we do that is we have much more than just the exhibits. There's education opportunities, there's fashion shows, there's live stage performances, there's networking receptions in the evening, there's a huge demo days,
Yes.
There's one-to-one meetings, there's live Golf Channel coverage. So there is actually an opportunity for some of your viewers and consumers out there to actually check in and see what's going on at the show by tuning into the Golf Channel.
Now, it's also truly an international show. I mean, how far away, how many different countries, either for attendees, the PGA professionals, as well as exhibitors, what kind of people and where are they coming from?
Yep, so we attract from all 50 states and actually from 90 countries from around the world. So it truly is the global gathering for the golf industry. And again, it's made up predominantly of PGA professionals, but also, buyers who are not PGA pros, club managers, GMs, directors of golf, media like yourself, superintendents, owners, really anybody who's anybody in the golf industry really convenes in Orlando. At the end of January, we get over 40,000 people during show week.
Now, when I look at the show, I always kind of get a feel after a day or two of what kind of segment seems to be the hot thing, the buzzword, whether it's, a different medal on the face of a club, whether it's the technology as far as personal, swing analysis, or you just kind of see a whole bunch of buzz about something. Are you feeling anything quite yet, or do you have to kind of get there to get that feeling?
Yeah, no, we're hearing a lot about some really interesting things. I'll touch on a couple of things. On the equipment side, I can't really speak too much. There's actually some really significant launches taking place at this year's show. Mm-hmm. A number of them are confidential. You probably heard, some about Callaway's Epic Driver, which is coming out, the Cobra single-weight irons.
I heard that. I heard the TaylorMade M1s, or they have new ones coming out as well, I heard.
Yeah, Titleist has some cool stuff as well. So from the manufacturers, there's a lot of really cool equipment coming out this year, which I think is going to be exciting for the consumer. Some other trends that we're kind of hearing, the fitness, health, and wellness segment is really a big one. Mm-hmm. So if you can't get better by improving your equipment, at least you can get in better shape, and hopefully that can improve your game.
Yeah, good luck with that. That's the hard part. Everybody just wants to buy something and have their game be better, not have to really work at it, So,
the fitness, health, and wellness, plus teaching and training aids, I think are always going to be hot. Technology in terms of ball flight analysis and simulators is always cutting edge, and there's going to be some really cool launches there at the show. I think you're going to see there's a lot actually on the retail technology side, so helping PGA professionals and other retailers in terms of modernizing their technology, so whether it's mobile payments, inventory management, things that are going to help them be more efficient with their business. And then I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, gifts and accessories, those unique items that they really can't find anywhere else that are going to kind of differentiate themselves in their shop versus their competition.
Now, also, it's an opportunity for them to recognize their own, too. I know that the PGA professionals, there are awards and accolades that are handed out the show, too.
Yeah, there's a number of awards. The PGA's actually moved their large annual awards to the PGA annual meeting, which actually just took place in New York a couple weeks ago, and we were there, and there's some great awards given out. There's also awards given out at the show, and there's actually product-specific awards. So we awarded Best New Product of the show in 3 different categories, and actually we have an Inventor Spotlight Award. We have a section for new inventors to debut their product, and we award a winner there as well.
Yeah, I do find that whole section of new products always to be fascinating, and some of the technology, the things like the boards that people ride on the golf course, or bikes that are equipped to ride on the golf course, or just interesting, strange things that you sometimes wouldn't expect to see pop up, and to me that's the most fascinating thing of all.
Yeah, no, I agree. You'd be surprised when we research and talk to pros about the number one reason they come to the show. It's not necessarily to see the new equipment. It's really to find that unique new product that is non-equipment, a gift or accessory item that can really fill the counter space of their shop or offer a unique or new item that they can offer to their members.
Now, I've heard obviously a lot about mergers, acquisitions, things like TaylorMade being up for sale. I mean, is there anything that you could reveal that you've heard that's going on as far as changes, as far as ownership goes?
Yeah, I mean, if we knew, we wouldn't be able to say it anyway. But as far as I've heard, although there could be something down the road in regards to TaylorMade and Adidas, as of now, they're exhibiting together next to each other at the show. And I have no breaking news to report there as of yet.
Oh, man. How about as far as spending goes? Also, prior to the recession, separate from the booth space that the exhibitors have, there were some lavish parties going on in town. Do you see the purse strings loosening up? I mean, everybody's been afraid we're going to fall into another recession, and now all of a sudden the stock market is just going crazy. Is anybody feeling comfortable about the future and actually spending some money?
Well, I would say it's less about parties and big events like that used to be at the show in the heyday back in the the late 90s and early 2000s. But there is, in terms of kind of branding and buzz factor, there's definitely some really unique and cool booths and displays that are being built. The materials that are used in the displays themselves are a lot more malleable and flexible and lightweight, so that people can do a lot more, even spending less than they used to. So I think you're going to see a lot on the marketing, buzz, and promotional side. Still not as much on the big party side, because I think it's tough to justify the return there. Although
it's a lot of fun, though. Now, what about celebrities? You always have a whole bunch of celebrities, whether they be people from music or movies, or of course PGA or LPGA pros. You got a nice lineup this year. We have
as you know, we've had a great lineup in the past, and I think this year's lineup will exceed last year's in terms of kind of tour player buzz factor, high-level celebrities. Can't really divulge too much there yet, but there's some really cool stuff. I mean, this is out there. We haven't announced it yet, but Cobra's looking like they're going to bring Bryson to the show, to the demo day.
Nice.
Big. That's to kind of help them launch the single-length irons. That's one kind of sneak peek, but there's some really good names, and you'll hear more about that in the coming weeks.
Now, the demo day itself, let's talk about that for a minute. I mean, that is a tremendous event. The facility itself being, I guess it's, a mile in diameter or something, that driving range. I mean, I've never seen a driving range quite like that one. So the facility itself and what you guys set up there for demo day is quite unique.
Yeah, I mean, Orange County National is a tremendous venue. As you know, they used to hold the Q School there. And that practice facility is second to none, so it really affords us an opportunity to have really a second show within a show, which is Demo Day, and that's a great opportunity for PGA professionals and other buyers to really test the latest equipment in real-life conditions. Great event, love it.
Well, yeah, I mean, the manufacturers obviously tell you how wonderful their stuff is, but not every product is right for every person, so there's nothing like actually having it in your hands and testing it and seeing if it's right for you or for your students. So to me, that's extremely valuable to have that hands-on experience. So I love it. Now, typically when I end an interview, I'll have somebody like yourself tell everybody out there how to find out more information. But of course, it's not open to most of our listeners. But as you had mentioned, the Golf Channel will have coverage. So that probably for the everyday golfer, that's the best way to tune in and find out what's going on, right?
Yeah, we'll do a little plug. I mean, if you are interested in the industry and finding out more about the event, obviously you can go to our website, pgashow.com. Golf Channel actually has live coverage of our demo day, which is